All right, first and foremost, give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kokodash, double honors to the elders and apostles, the great millstone, who rule well and who is worthy to be counted for double honors. And peace and salutation to you brothers out there pushing the truth wholeheartedly and sincerely and for love of the gospel. This is Brother Gabari from the Indian camp. Come back you another sit down. I'm going to entitle this video, Christianity Isn't Good for Your Health. All right. Basically I was going, not necessarily going back and forth, but a classmate of mine, a chick I used to go to school with, was basically talking about hell, the eternal pit of fire, place where you burn forever, so forth and so forth. Slakia, by the way, I'm a little hoarse, so my throat is a little scratchy, but basically just to get a little backstory. Chick I went to school with, we was talking about hell, and I was basically explaining to her that hell isn't a place. Hell isn't the place you think it is. Hell isn't a place where you burn forever, and the devil is poking you with a pitchfork and all those. Basically the what Christianity paints us to be. I was like, that's not hell. And another chick we went to school with, who so-called calls herself a Christian and all this other stuff, came and was like, it definitely is there a hell and this and that. And I basically, I basically brought up this scripture. All right, I brought up Revelations 20, and specifically I brought up Revelations 20 and 14, and it says, in death and hell were cast into the lake of fire, which is the second death. And I questioned her. I was like, well, if hell is this place where you burn forever, why was hell cast into the lake of fire? And then where it prompted her to say it was going, she was like, oh, well, hell and the lake of fire are two separate things. And she said hell is a place that you go to wait your judgment, and then when you get judged, then you go to the lake of fire, which she's confusing that with the word purgatory, because purgatory goes into basically a place where you're like in between hell and heaven. So she was even confused on the things that she was saying, because I'm like, wait a minute, that's purgatory you're talking about. And basically she's saying, no, hell is that in between, and then you get cast to the lake of fire from hell, which it made me prompt this video like I got now. Christianity is not good for your health, all right, because that shit will have you believe in completely left field. I've never even heard that before, all right. So these Christians, man, they just come. Well, first of all, I shouldn't really, I didn't even go in there expecting to really having a conversation, because one, it was a woman, and two, it was a Christian woman, so I wasn't even going in there really like, I was really just poking fun, just to see just to pick her brain, see that she actually know what she was talking about. But no, these Christians, they make it up as they go, man. Whatever sounds good to them and it makes sense to them, they're gonna say it. All right, Revelations 20, that's nowhere near what that's talking about. All right, so she started from verse 10 and went into it and basically said, this is the top of the line. What is it? Hell scripture that Christians would read and everything. Even though I brought this to her, she was basically reading all of it and saying, yeah, this is all talking about hell. So without further ado, we're gonna hop straight into it. This is Romans. This is Revelations 20 and 10. It says, and the devil that deceived them were cast into the lake of fire. Was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. Right. So you read this and you're thinking like, oh, see, the beast, the dragon, is going to be cast into the lake of fire, and the false prophets, they're going to be cast into the lake of fire, and they're going to be burning forever and ever. No, that's not what this is talking about. This is talking about the ICBM missile fires. When America gets destroyed, the false prophet, which is what the Roman Catholic Church and everything it stood for, and the beast, which is what Esau and the EU and NATO, they're all going to be destroyed. Their way, their system, everything is going to be completely eradicated. All right. They're not going to have, they're not going to be in rulership no more. All right. When America gets burnt up, that is the end of rulership of Esau, Edom. All right. It says, verse 11, it says, and I saw a great white throne and him that sat on it, and from whose face the earth and the heavens fled away. And there was found no place for them. Right. So Esau's not going to have, when Yahweh comes, Esau's not going to have basically a place in the earth. All right. Because he's going straight into captivity. All right. He's not going to have. And then guess what? When his captivity has been completed, when his days are finished, then guess where he's going to go? He's going to go one complete bonfire. He's going to be eradicated off the planet Earth. Thus said the book of Obadiah. All right. He's not going to have no remainings left once he served that 1,000 years of captivity slavery. All right. It says, verse 12, it says, I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were open, and another book was open, which is the book of life, which is the Bible. It says, and the dead was judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works, which is the elect. It says, and the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead. It's like death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. So I prompt her, and I actually said, and in the scripture, when I said the second death, so I was like, so I asked her, what was the first death? Which she went on a whole tangent and just said a whole bunch of other stuff, and I just kind of cut it off there because I'm just like, it's not really productive, and right now we're not in a time of going back and forth with people, man, and just hearing the madness that they got to spew, especially especially a woman, it's really not the time for really just to go back and forth and just, because it's no, like Apostle Taha always say, man, there's no gain from that. You gonna say your piece, she's gonna say her piece, and then at the end, y'all still gonna both believe the same thing. It's nothing to gain for that. All right. So I just kind of cut it off right there. I'm pretty sure she didn't even know what the second or the first death was. All right, which the first death was the flood. That's why it's called this one the second death. All right, because the flood and the ICBM missile fires are two major world changing events. All right, the flood changed the world back then, and these ICBM missiles. And the fire is going to change the world, and is going to change this world. All right. So, verse 15 says, and whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Right. So basically, if you're not part of the elect, you're going to basically be destroyed by those missiles. If you're still left if you're still left in America when the chariots come and everything, if you're not written in the book of life, that means you're not part of the elect and you're not going to get saved. All right. So basically, so that just brings up the question, then what is hell? All right. So you would think that hell is this eternal, how can you say this? Eternal pit of fire where you're going to go and burn forever if you commit iniquity and sin and so forth and so forth. That's not what hell is. Hell is basically, it can be either two, it actually could be a few things. So, hell can only be two things. It can either be a condition. Basically, that's why brothers say, I'm going through hell. Jonah, if you read in the book of Jonah, when Jonah was in the stomach of the big fish, he said that I am in the belly of hell. All right. Basically, the condition that he was in was in a hellish condition. All right. So basically, so to speak, he said he was catching hell. It was hell it was hell in there, So hell can be a condition, which means you're going through a very rough time. Right now we're in hell. All right. Because, if you're not in heaven, you're in hell. Heaven being also another condition. Basically, you're living on sunshine. Everything going your way. your life seems to be perfect. You know, you don't have a bad day. Everything, you know, you're walking around with a smile on your face. You're living in heaven, you know. Matter of fact, they got that one saying, heaven on earth. You know, it's, oh, man, I'm in heaven right now, you know. And matter of fact, what do people say? What is if you watch the movies, they say, I have died and went to heaven. You know, when they see something glorious on the earth, you know, let's say a gamer, you know, didn't know GameStop exists, but when he walked into a game store, he's like, I have died and went to heaven. You know, so it's basically a condition saying that you're doing really good for yourself. And hell is the complete opposite. All right. So we understand hell can be a condition. And the second one is hell is talking about the grave. All right. And when I say the grave, I'm talking about the place where you bury the dead. All right. So scripture that comes in mind in the book of Acts, it talks about Yahweh Shai body not being left in hell. All right. Now that's not talking about the actual place, because Christians say, yeah, see, Jesus went down and battled the devil and took the keys and came back. No, basically, Yahweh Shai's body was in the ground. All right. And you know, it says what the Lord was not going to suffer that the flesh to be corrupted. All right. So he didn't leave his body in hell. So also, if you look up the word, matter of fact, let's look up the word hell real quick. We're doing this one. So if you look up the word hell, it goes into the word Hades, which if you go and read, they'll try to say, see, look, it says depart souls. It says the name of Hades or Pluto is the god of the lower region, the nether world, the realm of the dead, you know. But look, if you read in the verse 3, kind of hits on point where it says latter use this word, the grave, death, or hell, right? So that's really on point. All right. So hell being synonymous with the grave, the place where you bury the dead. All right. If you look up the word grave, it says suffer the dead bodies to be put in the grave. It says that the aged man be sober, grave. See, now this grave is another word synonymous for basically honor. So this is not the one we want. We want the actual grave. Otherwise, deacons be grave. Okay, that's not the one. Oh, death, where? Okay, this is a good one. Oh, death, where is thy sting? Oh, grave, where is thy victory? Right, because this grave is talking about the actual grave where you bury the dead at. All right, because this is basically talking about conquering death. All right, because it says, oh, death, where is thy sting? And oh, grave, where is thy victory? Right, because if it goes into, you know, sinning and law and stuff like that. Anyways, but if you look up the word, this grave, it goes into, oh, look, it's the same word. Boom, Hades. So Hades and grave are synonymous with each other. They're interchangeable. You can say, oh, my body was in the grave. Oh, my body was in hell. You know, it means the same exact thing. All right. So grave going into being, later using the word grave, death, or hell. Right. So grave, the word hell is synonymous with the word grave. All right. So I basically gave you both two. I did want to get the Jonah one. It's in the second chapter, yeah. This is Jonah chapter 2 and verse 1. It says, and then Jonah prayed unto the Lord his God, and out of the fish's belly, and said, I cried by reason of mine affliction unto the Lord, and he heard me. Out of the belly of hell I cried, and it says, and thou heardest my voice. Right. So Jonah, how can I say? Jonah prayed to the Lord, and he said, in the belly of hell. He was talking about the condition that he was in. All right. Because the condition that we was in wasn't a comfortable condition. All right. So he's using the word hell to describe the condition he wasn't in wasn't pleasant. All right. So we have two examples right there for the Christian church. Two examples showing that hell can be a condition, basically explaining how what condition that you're in, well, you know, how's your life going, Or it can be synonymous with the grave, where you bury people, all right, in the earth, okay? If you bury, that's why you have graveyards. Graveyards could be, interchangeable with a hell, but all that nether realm and where the dead bodies burn forever and all that other stuff. No, that's not hell. That's mythical. That's a made up place. That's not scriptural. All right. So again, name the scripture. Christianity is not good for your health, because if you believe in hell and you out there teaching that, man, you going off. All right. And you corrupting the doctrine. So you need to change yourself. You need to fix yourself. So Lord willing, I hope this video edifying. Until next time, we'll say shalom.